action just yet. More highlights now on BBC One from the Football League show.
Hello there, great to have you with us. With only 4 weekends left now in the Sky Bet Football League, we're at the now or never stage of the season, and 3 sides have opted for a change in management this week, hoping for a late surge up the table, with Wigan appointing Gary Caldwell, Paul Sturrock at Yeovil and Ricardo Moniz at Notts County. But could Bristol City and Yeovil see their fate sealed at opposite ends of League One? Leroy's with me to find out, and here's what's coming up. There could hardly have been more at stake at the Den on Saturday. Fighting for their championship survival, Millwall went toe-to-toe with one of the favourites for promotion, Watford, with drama from an absorbing match. The battle for a playoff place is just as intense. In the day's early kick-off, Derby in 5th met Brentford, who were just a point behind them in another game not to be missed. With the best of the action from Friday night's match at the Amex as Brighton took on leaders Bournemouth.
And no doubt about the game of the day in League One. We're at Deepdale, where second place Preston North End look to narrow the gap on leaders Bristol City, who themselves are within touching distance of promotion.
OK, well, first of all, a game which could have real significance at either end of the championship table as relegation-threatened Millwall took on top 2 contenders Watford. The Lions were unbeaten in the last 3 and were hoping to bridge the 7-point gap to safety, while third place Watford were a point off the top with just 1 defeat in 9. Commentary from Paul Walker.
Only 3 weeks to go, but so many questions remain unanswered. Perhaps today will offer a few clues. Watford went top on Easter Monday, but lost the leadership just a few hours later. Bournemouth's win on Friday means they can't reclaim top spot, but they could go second today. Millwall haven't played since their Good Friday win over Charlton, so should at least be fresh, but they're still 7 points adrift in the fight for survival. Well, it's virtually the same Millwall side that starts today. Just the one alteration. Jos Højveldt, who got the winner last time out, makes way. Mark Beevers takes his place at centre-back. There are 2 Watford changes. One enforced, Matt Connolly replacing Craig Cathcart, who's got a calf problem. Mathieu Vydra partners the Championship's Player of the Month, Troy Deeney. Odion Ighalo, himself in fine goal-scoring form, is on the bench. In terrific form. This is the 100th meeting of the 2 sides, and Watford have a fabulous record over Millwall as well. They've lost just one of the last 9 meetings. As Deeney is onside here, it's Troy Deeney! Excellent save from Ford. Beautiful ball whipped over the top, and Ford did his job and did it well. Here's Upson, does well to get the cross in. To come back to him again, it's still Upson, he goes down, no penalty. Big appeals on the pitch and in the stands. Simon Hooper having none of it. There was a slight piece of contact from Watson, but not a great deal. Here it is again. Watson and Hoban both coming in from that viewing. It does look like a penalty. When you're down there, it does feel at times like everything's going against you, but Simon Hooper is convinced he's got that one right. Terzic, good-looking ball for Anya. He's got the legs to get there, nobody in the boxes yet. Deeney's in there now. It's beyond Deeney, it's Vydra! Beauty! Absolute beauty from Mathieu Vydra! What a goal that is! A golden moment for the Golden Boys. Anya plays it into Vydra's path. First time volley, bottom corner. Millwall 0, Watford 1. What a terrific strike. This is Wolford. Teeing up Abdou, just past it goalwards, and Gomez has to tip it away. No real venom on the shot, but it did ask a question in the end. Abdou just passes that towards goal. 6 wins out of 9 for his team coming into this. Just the one defeat. They're unbeaten in their last 6 away from home, Watford. Vydra leaping. Guardiola, Vydra. Swept away by Harding. And Gregory. And the linesman is flagging here. And Gregory will win his team a free kick. He's having his shirt pulled. Well, he has been a nuisance at times, Lee Gregory, in this match. Tommy Hoban just tugging at him there. Sean Williams is over it. Looks like he may well be sizing a shot up. We'll see. It is Williams! Very, very close. Gomez goes flying to his left. He was struggling to get there. It's a good try. Hoban. Nice turn from Vydra. He's looking for Deeney. He's the furthest man forward. Anya joining in now. Sakechi Anya. It's Guardiola. It's 2-0. The Algerian puts clear blue water between Watford and Millwall, and that might just be the goal that kills it. All started by Vydra, who scored the first. Deeney involved, so too was Anya. Nice pull back, and Guardiola with the simplest of finishes. Neatly rolled back, and Guardiola couldn't miss. And he will be a very happy man, Slaviša Jokanovic. O'Brien looking to get goal side of Connolly. Millwall need to make this count. It's O'Brien. It's a good save from Gomez. And Connolly sweeps it away. That needed to go in. O'Brien really needed to stick this one away. Fired it straight at Gomez. Lee Martin against Hoban. There it goes. There's a flick from Gregory, and Meyerhofer was just waiting for it to drop. What an introduction that would have been. But Watford's goalkeeper, Aurelio Gomez, read the danger well here. Meyerhofer with the knockdown, and Magaye is in here. It's Magaye for Millwall. Should have done better. It was straightforward in the end for Gomez. Sure, Magaye couldn't believe his luck here. This is Guardiola bursting beyond Magaye, in towards Ighalo. Can he get there? He can't. Ford just does enough. Ighalo surely have thought he was about to bag his 20th of the season here. Abdi was in there as well. There's a break on here as well. It's Turge's ball who's set Abdi in the clear. This is Deeney. All the time in the world, and Ford behind it with good palms. There's a lot of time to pick his spot, and he fires it straight at Ford. It's vicious. Ford showing good hands there to beat that one away.
It's not an easy day for us, it's not an easy day for them. At the end, it's more important, these 3 points. We are in the last part of the championship, and now all the points, it's double important.
I can't see how the referee's not giving it. It looks about as clear cut. I thought at the time it looks about as clear cut as you can get. Really proud of the way the players played. We went toe-to-toe with a real good side, and the difference really was their end product in and around the penalty area. They scored 2 really good goals. Disappointing from our point of view, but really good goals from theirs, and that was the difference because we got countless opportunities in the same sort of positions and we didn't take ours.
So Neil Harris left regretting his side's quality in the final third of that contest. Before we get your general overview, does he have a point with that penalty shout on Ed Upson?
No, I don't think he does, in all honesty. Look, Ben Watson comes across and puts his arm on it. Look, if it had been given, it would have been extremely harsh. I do feel the referee got it right on this occasion.
Now, interestingly, we've been saying this a lot about some of the leading contenders in the Championship, the promotion contenders. They weren't at their fluent best, were Watford, but they ran out comfortable winners at the end.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Millwall were really competitive, and they have been under Neil Harris. And until they got their goal, you know, that's when they started to relax, and it was a fantastic goal as well. And that was the difference. Neil was right, the quality in that final third. You know, Anya, who's full of pace, but he's also got quality. There's actually no one in the box when he crosses his ball, and he picks out Vidra on the edge of the box. And this is a really tough skill. As he puts that across the edge of the box, he lets it run across his body, makes sure it hits it down into the opposite corner. It's a fantastic finish. And when you've got the comfort of bringing in Vidra for Igalo, scored 16 goals in your last 14 games, it just shows that they've got that depth in the squad. And this second goal, again, it's Anya makes a darting run, a diagonal run into the box. Again, he picks out the one player in the box, and Guardiola lets it run across his body. And which is it's not an easy skill as well, but he's been really impressive in recent weeks, Guardiola. He's on loan from Palace, and has had a really positive effect on their results. And it was a well-deserved 3 points for Watford.
And how impressed were you with Watford's application? Because Jukanovic did say before kick-off he didn't want his players to be arrogant.
Well, they certainly weren't arrogant. You know, that was their 11th away win of the season. A team that's arrogant don't go away from home. You have to show real application. They showed it today, and they needed to with Neil Harris's side being. They were really focused. And again, you know, they did lack quality, but I think Watford, arrogance isn't a word I wouldn't associate with them.
Millwall, meanwhile, have got themselves a huge game against Wigan on Tuesday. Some are seeing it as a proverbial six-pointer. But have they given themselves too much to do?
Look, it looks like they might have given themselves too much to do. They've got a game in hand. If they can win that game in hand and apply pressure to those teams outside the bottom three, they can focus on their results, and they just might get out of it.
So there's still that flicker of hope for those ones. Well, to Saturday's early kick-off now, and another red-hot match at the top of the Championship as Derby welcome Brentford to the iPro. Steve McLaren made 2 changes for this one, including a first start for top scorer Chris Martin since February the 10th, while Mark Warburton made just the one, with Jonathan Douglas replacing Stuart Dallas in midfield. Kevin Keatings describes the action.
Hendrick. Ince. Committing himself to the challenge. Diagoraga. Later in the game, might well have drawn a yellow. Ince. Button would have had it covered had it been on target. Interesting to know what his father, who of course is the former Manchester United, Liverpool and England midfielder, Paul Ince, made of that. This is Keogh. Played most of the season as a centre-back. It showed good willingness there to draw the challenge and earn the free kick. Tarkowski's picked up a yellow card, and now then this is going to be worth a second viewing, because it looked pretty innocuous to me, this. And the first yellow card of the game goes to James Tarkowski. Into the free kick. Martin. Ince. Good effort, and Button right behind it. Out as far as Johnny Russell. Promising start this for Derby County. And Button makes sure that doesn't drop at the feet of Darren Bent. Certainly tested Button there. Potter. Douglas. This is better from Brentford. Judge given space. Potter's header down. Chance. Saved by Grant. It was Odebajo who got into the shooting position here for Brentford. First test for Lee Grant. Diagoraga doing well against Hendrick. Here's Douglas. Nicely into space here for Judge. Now Pritchard. Chance to run at Keogh. And Pritchard! Brilliant goal! The Tottenham loanee, Alex Pritchard, with his 10th goal of the season. Right now it feels the most important one in this huge promotion clash at the iPro Stadium. Derby 0, Brentford 1. there's the clever pass from Douglas. Judge immediately looking for Pritchard. Bidwell just levered Keogh out of the way with the support run the left back. And once Pritchard found this space, only one thing on his mind: perfection. Wonderful goal from a highly promising player, 21-year-old Alex Pritchard. Odubajo. Potter. Lucky break, and this is great! Good sight of goal there for Andre Gray. Odubajo. Potter. And by Douglas. And here's Andre Gray, shooting position and wide. Wonderful opportunity for Brentford's top scorer to put daylight between the sides. Pritchard. Judge. In goes Douglas. It'll drop here for Jota. And still off the line. Douglas denied. Crucial goal line clearance from Craig Forsyth there for Derby. Watch the positioning of Forsyth. Experience to get back on the line. Vital. Dallas. Headers over. It's a gorgeous cross. And Andre Gray just got caught underneath it. Real quality delivery here from Stuart Dallas. Martin. Space now for Hendrick. It drops now for Bent! Darren Bent with a stoppage time equaliser. Huge for Steve McLaren and Derby County. They've been off colour all afternoon, but he knows how big a goal this could be. The man on loan from Aston Villa, and where he's been for most of his professional career, in the right place. And Derby have saved themselves here.
It's a tough place to come to, a very talented opponent, well managed of course. So we knew the threat, but I thought we dealt with it well. We won first balls and we looked to play and play off the front foot. So it was a really positive performance, but the overriding sense of frustration of getting all 3 points.
That could end up to be one of the biggest points that we'll get all season. How we got it, we'll never know, but we got it by staying in the game. OK, they missed chances, some great defending, but we just stayed in the game, and we've always got players on the field who can score a goal, and we're quite fortunate to get that. But so many times we've been unlucky. It's about time we turn the tables.
Well, we'll find out over the next 3 weeks just how important that goal for Derby turns out to be. But for Brentford, they'll be scratching their heads. How did they not come away from the iPro with all 3 points?
Manish, I really don't know. It was almost the perfect away performance, the most perfect performance I've seen all season in the Championship. They dominated the game from start to finish. They created chances, scored a good goal. And in the second half, I thought Derby would come out and look, they would step up. But they didn't. But this was the start that they wanted. They got on the front foot, and Pritchard down this left-hand side was terrific throughout the game. This time, Derby allowed him to come inside, but he's still got plenty to do, and he calls a wonderful, wonderful finish into the bottom left-hand goal corner of the goal. And you thought, look, it can't get any worse for Derby, but Brentford came out second half and were even better, created chance after chance. And how they didn't take the 3 points, I don't know.
Well, of course, Derby didn't really look a threat up top, but Darren Bent has proved a canny acquisition. What's this, his 10th goal in 13 appearances in all?
Look, Darren is the only person on the pitch I think would have scored this goal. You know, Hendrick takes a speculative shot from outside the box, totally miskicks it, but Darren, in and around that far post area, miscontrols it and then sticks it in the back of the net. And look, Steve McLaren is absolutely right. That could be the most important point of their season.
And it was the chances, I suppose, that will, bug Mark Warburton most of all, clearly, because they had a hatful, didn't they?
Yeah, it's no surprise they had a heated exchange in the dressing room. I mean, and it was mainly Andre Gray. On occasion, his touch let him down. Sometimes he missed the target. On this one, I mean, it's a really difficult chance. It's just a little bit too high for him. on another day he gets a hat-trick. You have to remember, Andre has had a terrific season. He's 16 goals this season for Brentford, having signed for the conference. It's been a terrific acquisition, and he'll be as disappointed as anybody, but he'll go on and get more goals.
Yeah, contrasting emotions for both sets of teams and fans, but still plenty to play for as far as Derby and Brentford are concerned. Right, well, let's see how the other promotion contenders got on then, starting with Friday night South Coast affair between Brighton and the leaders Bournemouth.
Teixeira. Nice balance to him. Calderon. Teixeira. And that was Stevens. Best effort of the game so far. And Matt Ritchie is useful. So is Jan Kermorgant. Stepping forward. It is! Jan Kermorgant with a beauty. Bournemouth's first shot on target brings the opening goal. Dale Stevens. Calderon. There's appealing for handball. Turned round and pleaded with the assistant referee. It's going to end up as a goal kick, and you can see that Calderon is less than impressed. Ritchie fell and his left hand made contact with the ball on the floor. Fairly significant contact too. Back from Mikhail Smith. The defeated Dunk. Inventive ball looking for Wilson. Wilson twisting, turning, shooting chance now, and that should do it for Bournemouth. The Premier League and all its glamour in much clearer focus now. Lovely balance, great presence of mind. It's taken a long while for Bournemouth to break down Brighton's resistance, but now they're nearly home and hosed.
These players have been involved in big games now for a while, and they've responded well, and they've grown with the experiences they've had, and hopefully we're nearing the end of the challenges, and with 4 massive games to go. We still know that we need to try and win every game.
Perhaps in that last period they showed why they are. When they needed to be clinical in that last period they did. But I thought for 70 minutes we were the better side, and that's why it's perhaps just that little bit more difficult to take, because unless we're getting away from teams, unless we're giving ourselves an opportunity to score goals, then it's always going to be tough.
With a victory already in the bag for Bournemouth, the heat was on the teams endeavouring to keep pace. So Graham Dorrans' heavily deflected free kick was just what second-place Norwich needed to settle their nerves at Bolton, who are tough to crack on their own turf. Johnny Howson did his best to make the lead more comfortable, but Adam Bogdan's stop kept Wanderers in touch, before Tom Walker's impressive turn got him behind the Canaries' defence and in position for the perfect cross, beyond Sebastian Bassong, short of Martin Olsson, and gobbled up by Adam Le Fondre. Best not to get too cocky though. When Wanderers played themselves into trouble, Cameron Jerome kept Bogdan busy again. During the second half, Lewis Grabban's introduction after 6 weeks out beefed up the Norwich attack, while Dorrans went close to restoring the lead. And by the time the match had moved into 5 minutes stoppage time, Gary Hooper was also off the bench to form a 3-pronged strike force. It worked. Neil Lennon's side undone by a forward so prolific for the Bolton boss when he was in charge at Celtic. Still time for one more break. Grabban couldn't make the scoreline more emphatic, but that didn't matter to manager Alex Neil, who'd already got what he came for.
Regardless whether Bournemouth won, lost or drawn, it wouldn't have made any difference, because if they lost, you need to capitalise on it. If they draw, you want to try and make up the points, and if they win, you certainly need to win to make sure you're still within touching distance. So our task's simple. We've got 4 games now, and we need to go and try and win every one we can.
I know Gary Hooper very well, from the time at Celtic, and to leave him unmarked in the last couple of minutes with the whole box and the whole goal at his mercy is asking for trouble.
Rotherham may be the relegation strugglers, but it was Middlesbrough that were feeling the pressure here. After 2 defeats out of 3 and having slipped to 4th in the table, Borough are now being frustrated by the Millers. Albert Adoma twice denied by Emiliano Martinez during a nervy first half. But the deposed Championship leaders got their act together in the second. Lee Tomlin was the game changer. His goal just 5 minutes after the restart relieved the tension at the Riverside. The Borough playmaker then assisted on their second. He and Patrick Bamford on the same wavelength as Middlesbrough began to believe in themselves once again. Rotherham will also take heart from a battling performance. Kirk Broadfoot almost made a game of it for them. But Borough stay in the hunt for automatic promotion and could even afford to miss a penalty. Richard Wood brought down Kike in injury time, but Martinez kept out Bamford's efforts. Another gentle reminder for Borough that April is no time to relax.
First half, we again didn't score the chances that we had, and finally we could score 2 and we could finish again a little bit calmer than other days.
We didn't keep the ball well enough from an attacking point of view, especially in the middle of the park. We didn't pass it around and take a little bit of steam out of the game when we had to, but you know, over the 90 minutes we've got no complaints. We got we disappointed. I'd just like to see it go 2-1 and see a different outcome maybe.
Not many teams have contained Wolves' new Adiko this season. How's this for persistence? Laying on the opener for the red-hot Benica Phobe as the Molineux men chased a 5th successive win. Now we don't have goal line cameras in the Championship, just eagle-eyed officials. Danny Bart may have got to Jonathan Ground's shot in the nick of time, but there was no stopping Rob Kiernan's rebound. Wolves ahead for just 4 minutes. Few fancy taking on Blues' Damari Gray for pace, and those that do tend to pay a heavy price. Scott Golborn gambled. Gray got clear, kept right on, and grabbed his first goal since December. When you're chasing the game, you want your best chance to fall to a player in form. Wolves' Kevin McDonald hasn't scored for a year, and it showed. A Wanderers wobble on Derby Day.
We showed fantastic character, and I thought it was some great football and some great play for the rest of the match. And like I said, it's not often that we pass the ball more than the opposition. I thought we did that really well today and got into some terrific areas. Thoroughly deserved the win.
There's 1 point between 4 clubs now with 4 games to go, so you know we're still very much in there. We're disappointed today. We desperately wanted to win, and it was a local derby. We you know got 2 corners wrong, completely wrong, in what was a very tight and cagey game.
Blackpool may be down, but they're still full of fight, as they showed after just 4 minutes at Portman Road. Andrea Orlandi striking a potentially painful blow to Ipswich promotion hopes. The home side, though, have come to rely on the goals of Freddie Sears this season, and his equaliser was no more than Mick McCarthy's side deserved. Blackpool's failure to keep tabs on the Ipswich striker was punished again just 4 minutes later, although a deflection of Orlandi helped, as Sears made it 21 for a season which started in League One with Colchester and could still finish in the Premier League. Indeed, he might have had a hat-trick, but for 1 touch too many, which cost him a golden opportunity. And that miss looked costly, as the visitors forced their way back on level terms thanks to a first senior goal for 17-year-old Henry Cameron, whose potential will give Tangerines fans reasons to be cheerful in League One next season. But in keeping with the promotion race with more twists and turns than an Agatha Christie novel, the Tractor Boys snatched a vital late win, Christophe Berra choosing the perfect time to score his first league goal since October.
Frustrating. We've put a hell of a lot of effort in against a tough team, a really impressive team in Ipswich, and I thought we were going to come away with a point, but unfortunately it wasn't to be.
They were a tough nut to crack, which I suspected they would be, with nothing riding on it except just wanted to play and maybe knock us off our perch.
Good comeback win for Ipswich. They're back in the playoff frame, not least because of Wolves slipping up at Birmingham, where there wasn't a sausage inside of St Andrews, but there was a banger of a goal from Damari Gray.
It was a banger of a goal, as you put it. Look, it was a fantastic goal. I mean, they defended a corner here, and Damari picks it up on the edge of his box, and he tries to outrun Scott Golborn. Now, I know Scott is in his time at Bristol. He's not slow. He just gets caught out, and the determination of Damari gets him to the edge of the box. He goes from box to box, and then he's got the presence of mind and the calmness to slip that away, and that was to prove to be the winning goal. Fantastic goal.
Meanwhile, at the very top of the table, the race for the top 2 in the Championship, there are no signs of letting up. Bournemouth on Friday got themselves a good victory against Brighton. they were pretty unusually subdued, I thought, and only scored with only their 2 shots on goal, which is not like them.
No, it's not like them. They didn't pass the ball as well as they would have liked. But I think that was partly down to Brighton. The way they pressed them in the first half, they worked so hard to keep them at bay. And I just thought that Brighton couldn't keep up that tempo. And then they made a change. Eddie brought Adam Smith on. He got the free kick and that little bit of extra quality. Great free kick by Coleman. Got their noses ahead. And then there was only going to be one winner.
Yeah, well, that win on Friday meant that no matter what happened on Saturday, Bournemouth were going to stay top of the Championship. But Norwich are not far behind. An injury time winner for them at Bolton. And, you know, they're going to take some stopping, particularly when Alex Neil ends again with the likes of Cameron Jerome, Lewis Grabban and Gary Hooper on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah, he went for it. See, Cameron Jerome wins ahead of them. Hooper sticks it in the back of the net. He's a substitute. And he's so positive, Alex Neil. Since he's come in January, that's 42 points he's accrued. You know, it's the most.
To lose an away game.
I mean, they were 11 points behind Bournemouth when he took the job. And it shows how far they've gone. Bournemouth had a terrific season, but since he's been in charge in the hot seat of Norwich, he's been absolutely fantastic. And the players have responded so positively. And we always feel that until that final whistle, Norwich have got a goal in them, and they came up with one today.
Middlesbrough there as well, challenging as well. It's interesting, a bit of kidology from him, almost Mourinho-esque from Aitor Karanka in the build-up to their game against Rotherham, saying maybe the home support, not quite as positive as the away support, but they come away with a 2-0 victory. And here we go, Patrick Bamford equals a record set by Fabrizio Ravanelli, 16 league goals in a season.
Yeah, fantastic. But, you know, Aitor, very clever because their away performances haven't been great. So he knows that they've got to rely on their home performance, and he knows they need the fans behind them. The recent performances would have made the fans a little bit nervous. So I think that kidology would have worked, and it was a well-deserved 3 points.
Well, as for the rest of the Championship, there was a huge game at the bottom of the division on Friday night as Fulham went head-to-head with Wigan. The Latics, of course, starting life under new manager Gary Caldwell.
Here's a rare sight this season, a Wigan manager with a smile on his face. But then the newly appointed Gary Caldwell hadn't seen his team kick off yet. Inside 4 minutes of Friday night's potentially pivotal match for both clubs, Fulham's Ross McCormack was afforded the space to pick his spot, but he chose a good one. An uphill task already for Malky Mackay's replacement, but Caldwell's charges responded with spirit and made the most of their one big first-half chance. Jermaine Pennant clearly still has a touch of Premier League quality, though surely the best strike of all was still to come. The Latics' entire midfield bypassed by a simple ball forward before a finish from Matt Smith which left his teammates speechless. As it stood, Wigan were now 12 points adrift of opponents they'd hoped to drag into the relegation equation. Jason Pearce brightened up that picture slightly after the break, but it's still more than likely that instead of a rescue act, Caldwell will oversee a rebuilding job in League One. Fulham continued to chase a win, though with the whip hand in the standings, it was mostly important they didn't lose. Scott Parker thwarted by Scott Carson as Wigan held on to their hard-earned points.
I was over the moon with the performance, to be honest. I said to them at the end that I couldn't be prouder. The way they played the game, the way they controlled the game. I thought they'd done excellent considering we lost a goal after 3 minutes, you know. I think it was the first shot they had. I thought, here we go, this is going to be interesting, but the boys, you know, took the game plan on, they passed the ball, they were brave in possession, and I couldn't be prouder of them.
Butterfield, he slipped it through, it was a lovely ball for Scannell, scores! What a ball it was from Jacob Butterfield. It dissected the entire Forest back line, and Sean Scannell has angled it into the net. Antonio still squares it here, Lansbury. Oh, big chance of an equaliser, it must be for Akpom, but the flag is raised. Akpom swept it into the net from no more than a yard out. He was in an offside position. Gilban, well, shown too much of the ball there, enabling Lehigh to nudge it into the path of Antonio, who has the pace. He's still going, Antonio, here's the pull back. Oh, what a save. Shawlow, the three of them there, and there's no goal for Tyler Walker today as yet. Now Huddersfield would hate to concede now, having led throughout the half. But it's into the right area. Oh, and a brilliant save from the Mancian header. It's a magnificent stop by Smithers. Gilban could get even better yet. It's Miller! And how did he miss? Ishmael Miller he's about 4 yards out. Somehow managed to miss the net.
I really felt we could have got a second or third goal today, but it wasn't to be. I'll take 1-0, and like you say, it's pushed us up a little bit, and we're playing well at the right time.
For their game with Blackburn, the Royals' guest of honour was 14-year-old Ryan Duval. A pupil of the nearby Avenue School, he designed a team strip that Reading wore for the day as part of a unique community project. Ryan's Royals endeavoured to mark the day with 3 points, but found Rovers in typically resolute mood. Simon Eastwood, very nearly a goal scorer against Liverpool in the Cup, prevented Hal Robson-Kanu from hitting the net. Rovers' own chances were collector's items. Ben Marshall's sliced cross was perhaps their best. With Reading thinking about next week's FA Cup semis and Blackburn thinking about missing out on them, this game was never likely to be a classic. Hope Akpan's header was as close as either side came to a goal.
Though neither side has much to play for, this wasn't a game without talking points. The biggest, Chris Eagles flagged offside by assistant Robert Atkin. The margin, the smallest. Charlton in decent form under Guy Luzon. The Addicts fan Wednesday goalkeeper Kieran Westwood in more than decent nick. A terrific stop from Morgan Fox. The go-ahead goal grabbed by the Owls and scored by Keelan Lavery. Now back to full sharpness after a fitness-finding loan at Chesterfield. His second goal in 4 matches, just Wednesday's 14th at home this season. That lack of goal power leaves the home side exposed, and so it proved again. Westwood kept out Eagles, the scraps gobbled up by Johan Berg Gudmundsson, the Icelander into double figures for league goals. Wednesday wondering how they didn't win this. Lavery's vicious shot, bruising the post. Before Lloyd Isgrove had cause to curse the carpentry, the crossbar denied him a first goal for the club. Honours even, Charlton unhappy.
The goal we scored that Eagles scored, it was onside, not offside. And if the referee showed this goal, it was completely different the game.
It was all smiles between Neil Redfern and Russell Slade, but behind the scenes Cardiff were so unhappy with their ticket allocation for the trip to Elland Road that they returned the 500 tickets they did receive. Consequently, there were no Bluebirds fans in the stands to enjoy Sean Morrison's 14th minute effort to put them in front. There were plenty of Leeds faithful in attendance, though, to enjoy their equaliser 3 minutes later. It came courtesy of David Marshall's slip and the opportunism of 19-year-old Calvin Phillips, another successful graduate from the club's academy. Having enjoyed a defensive gift, Sol Bamba almost returned the compliment when he played in Owen Doyle, but Marco Silvestri made a subtle yet significant save. Cardiff are a bogey team for the Yorkshire club. Frankie Goes to Hollywood were top of the charts with Relax in February 1984, the last time Leeds beat them, and silence was certainly golden as Aaron Gunnarsson provided the close-range finish for the visitors. Cardiff have been unbeaten on their travels since January, and they were to hold on to extend that streak to 7 matches, despite the best efforts of Billy Sharp on a slightly surreal afternoon all round.
I haven't had that ever before where there's nobody there cheering your team on. It's unfortunate because our fans would have enjoyed that today.
And that takes Cardiff's stunning run against Leeds to 17 matches without defeat over a period of 31 years. But a little bit surreal to celebrate that in front of no away fans. Have you ever done that before?
No, I don't think I have. I've run to the wrong fans and I scored because there weren't many of us West Ham fans. We were playing Arsenal, but I've never played in front of an away crowd with no fans. So it's great credit to the players for showing that sort of attitude to go there and get a result.
Interestingly, though, for Leeds, it means they've lost their last 3. It coincides with when Steve Thompson was suspended as the assistant manager, and this week we've seen the departure of the sporting director. It's never dull there, is it? And now it's having an effect on the results.
It's affected the manager, there's no doubt about that. It's destabilised the players. It's never going to have a positive effect. And as I said, when you get these decisions from out of nowhere, when your club's going really well, you know, the players were playing well, they were picking up points on a regular basis, and this suspension of Steve Thompson came back from absolutely nowhere. It's no way to run a football club.
Now, we saw on Friday that big game at Craven Cottage where 4, incidentally, ex-Leeds players were all on the score sheet. It's a point that will serve Fulham better than Wigan, no doubt.
Absolutely, and what a wonderful goal from Matt Smith. You know, he's spent his time on loan at Bristol City, might have got the goals to secure their promotion, and that could be a goal that keeps Fulham in the league. This was equalised from Jason Pearce, which got them to 2-2, but I do think that maybe it was not enough late on in the day. I think they needed the 3 points there against Fulham yesterday, and I don't think that point will be enough for Gary.
An encouraging start, though, for Gary Caldwell, to see that fighting spirit come back twice against that Fulham side. What did you make of the appointment?
Well, they've had such a difficult 18 months, 2 years, Wigan. I think they needed to get back to basics. They need to get
someone who knows the club inside
someone who
out?
knows the club and someone who knows what the club's all about, the sort of football that the fans want to see play. I mean, they haven't won a home game for 6 months. And so I think it was always going to be a difficult task for Malky. Gary is retired from football. He was a good, solid centre-half. I think he'll take all those attributes into his managerial career.
Well, time for League One now. And what a match in prospect at Deepdale. Runaway leaders Bristol City had an outside chance of sealing promotion earlier on Saturday with a win over second-place Preston, with the Lily-Whites looking to build on their 5-point lead over the chasing pack. Clem reports on a dramatic day.
When the football fixtures were released last June, this one was seen as pivotal at the top of League One, and it certainly lived up to its billing. Preston North End, unbeaten in 13 league games, including 10 wins and 9 clean sheets. But a win for Bristol City combined with results elsewhere would give them an outside chance of promotion today. Well, I confess I am utterly excited about this game. I mean, can you see it from a neutral point of view, or have you got your Preston head on totally?
Well, I'll have both on, obviously, focused on what we need to do to try and win the game. But ultimately as well, you're looking from the outside, top versus second, 16,000, 17,000 there, all to play for. So, exciting day for everybody.
Do you use the pain of missing out in the playoffs last year in any way as a motivational tool? You don't want to be in that situation again, lads. Let's get it done automatically.
Well, all we said in the dressing room after the Rotherham game was, look, let's use this as a motivation for next year. Let's be part of a group that are going to be celebrating. A few times last year we went to grounds and ended up sort of being seeing opposition teams celebrating. Went to Brentford when they got promoted, Rotherham obviously into the playoff final, and even Crewe the last game of the season, they won to stay up as well. So we want to experience the other side of it, where it's our fans that are getting slightly carried away and enjoying the moment. When you look at the infrastructure, the stadium, the training facilities, it was a championship club, and it was a championship club that was going very close to the Premiership playoffs probably 5-6 years ago, I think it was. So it's had its dark times. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of good times ahead now.
You've doubled your win ratio from last season, the club. What has been the key to your success this season? So consistent.
Well, we have, I think, that probably having a way to play and a good team spirit. I think that's been the key to it, really. If there was 2 elements I'd have to pick out, and the boys have done fantastically well. So hopefully that will continue for a few more games.
I need to ask you a personal question. How are your nether regions? Because, well, we've got some bits and pieces on the table there behind us. You're doing this bike race from, what, London to Amsterdam, and you're doing it on behalf of Prostate UK.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine died last year from a close friend, so in our words of wisdom at a wake, we decided that 12 of us who were close friends to him would go and do it. So the work's going well, trying to fit it in between training and games, and I'm sure that I'll be enjoying it when I get to Amsterdam more than actually the work before.
What is inside your head right now? Because you're so close to the prize, you can reach out and almost touch it, and yet you need to get over the line. What's swirling around in there?
Well, there's anticipation, nerves, excitement, all them sort of thoughts really, because we've worked extremely hard since we came back 1st of July, and there's been some good moments, some bad moments, but over the course of the season we had a real consistent season, and it'll be one of relief, like Steve Cottrell, Mark Cooper and everybody else, Carl Robinson, whoever goes up, that they've achieved something, and that's what we all set out to do in pre-season.
It's a wonderful day, let the pendulum sway.
In a match with so many potential match winners, Preston goalkeeper Sam Johnston was as influential as anyone. Aaron Wilbraham was twice denied as Bristol City took a typically adventurous approach to the game. Johnston's second save from the Robins frontman needed some help from the crossbar, but was no worse for it. His man of the match performance perhaps turning the tide of the game. Having survived those scares, Preston then pegged back the League One leaders. Jermaine Beckford celebrating the 9th and biggest goal of his loan spell so far. But with both teams sporting unbeaten records that span months rather than weeks, an equaliser felt likely and arrived inside 4 minutes. Nothing Johnston could do this time as Wilbraham took his tally for the season to 20. Spoil shared, and both clubs taking another step toward promotion.
There's a real sense of togetherness between you and these supporters behind you right now. The atmosphere has been throbbing.
It's electric, and it's the same every single game, you know. And I'm enjoying myself. I think you can see that with today's performance. I'm really starting to get the love back, you know. So long may that continue.
Well done today.
Thank you very much. Take care.
The owner, Trevor Hemmings, has had a big win today. The Grand National, his horse. Is he going to be celebrating a bit more in 3 weeks' time?
Well, hopefully. We all thought that the conditions weren't right for it today, so there's a little bit of money gone throughout the club. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be a double celebration. Him, obviously, today, and a few weeks' time, hopefully we can finish off what we started. But we still got a job to do. No complacency about our group. We'll keep chipping away, and hopefully we'll get there.
All in all, not a bad day for Preston North End's players and the owner, Trevor Hemmings, with him owning, of course, many clouds that won the National earlier, but unbeaten in 14. And what a way to respond to a winless January at the turn of the year.
Yeah, incredible. You know, you really thought that they were going to make this a difficult season again. You know, this is the 4th season they've been in League One. And I hear all these talk about, you know, big budgets and the great big club. But the previous managers couldn't get out of League One. So Simon's gone there. His experience has shone through. He's a calm individual, and I think that is really important at such a big club like Preston. He's kind of quietly confident, so he should be with the squad that he's assembled there, and he's done a terrific job. And I think they're on the verge of getting into the Championship where they should rightly be.
And Bristol City could find themselves the first team in the Football League to be promoted with victory at Bradford on Tuesday. I mean, they have long been the front runners in this division and fully deserved.
Fully deserved, the best side in the division. Obviously, they've won the JPT as well. So, you know, at no time have they taken their foot off the gas, you know, and they've not used any excuses. As a squad of players, they've been focused. Steve has kept them focused. They've played excellent football at times as well. And I think they've had the best players in the league. But it's not just about that, it's about spirit as well. There's tremendous spirit as well. Steve has started, you know, he takes them away on the Thursday. Lots of players would moan about that being away from home, but they haven't. They've got on with it and got the results they deserve.
Well, one side keeping a close eye on events at Deepdale, where MK Dons, who are aiming to close the 5-point gap on Simon Grayson's men. On Saturday, they're away at Port Vale.
Port Vale had lost 6 in a row. In contrast, MK Dons were looking to extend a 4-match winning run. Vale's Ben Williamson was brought down on the edge of the penalty area by Darren Potter. He was the last man, but escaped with just a caution. Michael O'Connor's free kick hardly troubled keeper David Martin. O'Connor's run and cross caused confusion in the Dons' defence. Kyle McFadzean couldn't clear, but Mark Marshall couldn't finish, and the visitors survived the scare. A first point from a possible 21 for Vale, while for the MK Dons, who were less than convincing, a welcome draw.
We've come into this on the back of some really good form, but we've come away from here with not being beat and not playing well. So from that perspective, from our performance levels not being where we've been at recently, it's a good point.
Swindon needed a lift after crushing back-to-back defeats. After a nervous start, Robin striker John Obika had his shirt pulled by the posh defender Michael Smith, and a penalty was awarded. The perfect opportunity then to take the lead, but Andy Williams watched the chance go by and Posh lived to fight on. But this game wasn't pretty and chances were at a premium. Peterborough, who've now not scored in 4 games, had a great chance to take the lead, but Marcus Maddison brought the best out of Wes Fodringham. Neither side have been particularly good in front of goal recently, so it will come as little surprise that Williams missed a glorious chance to nudge the Robins in front again. Up stepped Jermaine Hilton, the 21-year-old who arrived from Redditch in January, and less than 5 minutes into his latest Robins appearance, he slotted home his first professional goal to make sure Mark Cooper's 100th league game in charge was a happy one.
He has shown promise, and obviously we see him at close quarters every day. And the boy's got a real chance. He's got really good ability, and he's come off the bench and got us the 3 points.
Sheffield United manager Nigel Clough slept rough on Friday night to raise money for local homeless charities. It was his side that were caught napping by Oldham though, as former Blades frontman Dominic Polian finished acutely following a rangy run. Just over 2 years ago, Polian was in a Sheffield United side that won 2-0 at Boundary Park. His stunning second goal 2 minutes before half-time gave Latics the same superiority. But the Blades came storming back in the second period, demonstrating why they are top 6 material, on loan Hearts midfielder Jason Holt snaring his 4th goal in 5 games. Oldham had taken just 4 points from a possible 18 at home. Their Boundary Park fragilities on display again, as Jamie Murphy bundled home for 2-2. Michael Doyle could have completed the comeback 4 minutes later when he rattled the post, but his manager Clough will at least sleep a little easier tonight.
Before this game, Lee Johnson put Barnsley's chances of reaching the playoffs at a measly 5%. The probability of catching Chesterfield certainly hinged on the result here, so when Jay O'Shea gave the Spireites the lead, Johnson's pessimism appeared well-founded. But Barnsley were to battle back. Martin Craney was inches away from an instant equaliser. Chesterfield also had to repel a close-range effort from George Waring, Tommy Lee with a point-blank save. But Chesterfield were to be denied a 5th straight win. Barnsley kept their slim promotion hopes alive thanks to Sam Winnell's 11th goal of the season. The Tykes stay 7 points behind Chesterfield, who occupy the last playoff spot.
4 defeats in 5 games had ended any hopes Doncaster Rovers had of featuring the playoffs. Rochdale's season is very much alive. Dolly edged in front when Rhys Bobaro picked out Carl Bennett, the breakthrough moment for a club in desperate need of a lift. Dale levelled just short of the hour mark. Michael Rose swung in the cross and Ian Henderson reacted quickest to tie it up at 1-1. Keith Hill's side could have won the encounter. From this corner, Peter Vincenti struck the post. Rochdale are 4 points outside the top 6, but they have a game in hand on most of their rivals.
And that's a point that keeps Rochdale firmly in the playoff hunt. And they, just as it happens, face Swindon in midweek. And Swindon, the only winners in the top 13 going into the weekend in League One, which is some stat. And a fairy tale finish, really, for Jermaine Hilton.
Yeah, they signed him from Redditch in January. He's only 21 years old, and he came off the bench in the 69th minute and did this in the 71st minute. It's a good finish as well, just like kind of lets it roll across his body. Well, it's not the cleanest of strikes, but he doesn't care. That's his first professional goal, and it secured a really important 3 points this win. They did well to bounce back from their midweek result against Bristol City.
And that was quite a humbling defeat, but you thought the scoreline almost flattered the opponents.
It did. I mean, Bristol City were just more clinical, but they played some great football, as they have done all season under Mark Cooper. But in the final third, they let themselves down. But at home, got a terrific record, and they continue that this weekend.
Yeah, and they, of course, overcame the fact that they missed a penalty earlier in that game, so well done to the Robins. And to Sheffield United, I mean, they came back from 2 goals down against Oldham, against what was the Dominic Polian show, because this was the second of his 2 goals in the first half.
2 great goals. First was a great run and finish in the box. This is fully 35 yards, and Dominic came from the Chelsea Academy. That's real Premier League quality there with that strike, and a good celebration as well. But Sheffield United showed great spirit, as you come to expect from any Nigel Clough side, and they managed to get the first one back with Holt just grabbing that goal. And then, this was in just later on in the game. It's a little bit of a scramble. The header's saved on the line, and it's Murphy's on hand just to stick it in for 6 yards. And that was a really important point. It keeps their spirits up. I think they've secured their place in the playoffs now, and I think they'll go into the playoffs in good form and good spirit.
Yeah, 8 points safe within the playoffs, and they're unbeaten away from home, which is a great record going into the end-of-season tournament, of course. Well, more from League One now. We saw another crucial week for those teams on the fringes of the playoffs, not to mention the 9 clubs fighting against the drop.
A failure to score in 4 games and just 1 win in 12 had put Walsall in a nervy state in League One. That feeling won't have eased as Sadler's youngster Kieran Morris became the latest player to be found wanting, with half-time approaching. But leading scorer Tom Bradshaw made a timely return from injury against playoff-chasing Fleetwood, and with 6 minutes to go, he scored the game's winning goal to move Dean Smith's side 4 points clear of trouble.
Bradford manager Phil Parkinson had described the trip to Gillingham as the biggest game of their season, a sizable statement given the Bantams' cup exploits in recent months. But the Gills weren't about to meander to mid-table obscurity, Jermaine McGlashan's persistence in vain, as Cody McDonald failed to gobble up the opportunity. On loan Millwall striker John Marquise won it for the hosts as he thumped home the 8th goal of his Priestfield spell, powerful enough to deceive even the more experienced camera operators. Bradford's playoff hopes now hanging by a thread.
With 3 wins out of 4, Colchester had the momentum ahead of this relegation 6-pointer, but Coventry at last found a way to win at home. Captain Jim O'Brien leading by example in a game where the Sky Blues simply had to arrest their rotten record at the Ricoh. In the event, it might have been more comfortable. The width of the post prevented Nick Krushwitz from collecting his first Coventry goal. Substitute James Madden was later denied by the crossbar. Coventry held on for a second home win in 2015 and a first under Tony Mowbray. The Sky Blues aren't safe yet, but the table makes better reading tonight.
Crawley arrived at Glanford Park in good form. 4 wins from 6 league games had given them hope, but they were soon in trouble when Paddy Madden teed up Jordan Clark. Lee Fowler back on his goal line to rescue the situation. The Iron went in front via a deflected strike. Gary McShaffrey with a layoff, and Clark's attempt came off the unfortunate Ryan Dixon for an own goal. Nothing goalkeeper Brian Jensen could do about it. Madden was Scunthorpe's leading scorer with 16, but he'd only found the net once in his last 11 appearances. He improved on that as Noel Canavan's flick-on was turned in by Madden to give them a comfortable cushion. Isel McLeod has been Crawley's standout performer. Lewis Young's attempted cross was blocked, but second time around he had more success, and McLeod provided the necessary finish. For Scunthorpe, it was a game they couldn't afford to lose.
Coming into it, we looked at the tables and obviously not getting anything from MK Dons on Tuesday night. Just put a little bit more pressure on us, but we know that everything's in our hands, and we have, I think, 3 more games at home, and everything's in our hands.
Two sides locked on 46 points and deep in relegation trouble met at Gresty Road and did little to dispel fears that they'll beat the drop. Crewe took an early lead when flying Finn Laurie Dallavara capitalised on Alex Cesac's flap, but in truth the Railway men were second best to an Orient side who extended their unbeaten run to 4 games when League One's weakest defence was breached for the 71st time by Darius Henderson. In fact, Orient were unlucky not to have taken all 3 points, but leading scorer Chris Dagnall was denied by Paul Rahubka in the Crewe goal. For these two, the trapdoor remains wide open.
I thought the players worked tremendously hard, which I told them after, patted them all on the back. It could prove to be a really important point.
You know, we've got to take the positives out of it. But we need to look at the second half and see where we can certainly improve in the opponent's box. You know, we had a couple of good chances there. Maybe if we just took our time a little bit more and you know, possibly had a little bit more time than we thought, you know, we'd have come away with a win.
There were dugout debuts for both Ricardo Moniz and Paul Sturrock as Notts County and Yeovil made late season changes to their managerial makeup. The equation was a simple one for Yeovil. They had to win to avoid relegation. Notts County defender Hayden Hollis handing the hosts the perfect start. The Glovers' problem this season has been scoring goals of their own. They've been the least productive in the league. Yeovil's top scorer James Hayter's only bagged 5, a failure to make it goal number 6, proving to be an expensive miss. But unlike the home side, Notts County still had a plausible relegation escape route. How they needed leading scorer Gary Thompson's goal 11 minutes from time. It confirmed the inevitable, back-to-back relegations for Yeovil, who returned to League Two a decade after they last left it.
This is the essence of the last 5 games, is to assess the squad of players that we had. You couldn't ask for any more commitment and attitude today.
Yeah.
We maybe lacked in other attributes, but to be fair, the players gave everything they had.
Notts County remain in danger, third bottom in the relegation zone, and still looking to, of course, get out of it in the closing weeks. But for Paul Sturrock, he loses his first game in charge, and their fate is sealed now, of course. They're now been relegated to League Two. Is he the right man in your eyes to bring Yeovil back up again?
I couldn't actually think of a better fit. I know Paul went in as a consultant at Torquay and didn't really manage to start that job before Yeovil went and plucked him away from there. But Paul he's always been a very good manager, but his strength has always been in player identification. He knows the West Country. It's a difficult place, Yeovil, to get the right type of player down there. That's what Paul will be concentrating on to restructure the club. The club's run very well. I don't think they need to change too much in the way.
So you don't expect wholesale changes?
No, look, I'm sure Darren Way and Terry Skiverton will be staying on. They need that.
And that seems like a good idea, doesn't it?
Of course it is. They need to be that constant thread going through the squad with people who know what the club are all about. But Paul will go in. He won't want to tear up, what Yeovil have done, which has made us successful. Yes, the last couple of seasons have been disappointing, but they've had a meteoric rise. And he needs to put an end to that. He needs to get the player identification right and bring in the sort of player that's going to just give them a firm foothold to give them the platform to move forward again.
And putting you on the spot, who do you think is going to join them?
Wow, that's a really tough question. Well, look, I am concerned about Notts County. I know they've made the change, and I thought Sean had a very difficult job. He managed to get them out of that situation last season, but nothing seems to change. Yeah, massive club, but there's real problems within the club. That's got to change. So I have my concerns about them.
Two sides, though, on Saturday got themselves valuable wins and some breathing space. They've reached the 50-point mark. Coventry, first of all, it's only their 5th win in 19 at the Ricoh. The first at home under Tony Mowbray.
Yeah, unbelievable stat that Manish. And, it's a wonderful stadium. And sometimes, playing in great facilities lifts the opposition as well. Not only has it done that, but I think it's made Coventry go into their shell at times. And Tony needs to sort that out if they're to move forward. But they massive 3 points. They need to stay in the division.
And shows what they can do with Reader Johnson in the side. I know injuries haven't exactly been great for him this season. Scunthorpe have done exactly the same. 3 points to their name to reach 50 points. And the start of a very, very important week as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, they've got some massive games coming up. Paddy Madden is starting to score a little bit more regularly as well. You would have thought reaching 50 points would be, usually you reach 50 points and we're safe, but it's such a tight division. They're only, I think, just 3 points outside the relegation zone. So, they've got to get a run of results now.
Yeah.
And if they can string a couple of wins together off the back of that one, then they'll be safe.
Port Vale and Colchester to come in the coming days. Well, time for League Two then. And after 7 straight defeats, Luton halted their slide last week away to Tranmere. So could John Still's side keep their playoff hopes alive with a win against league leaders Burton?
Burton eyeing third-tier football for the first time as a manager Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank seems a natural. Luton's latest slump, 9 defeats in 11, looks expensive. They'd spent 25 match days of the season inside the playoff places. The Hatters' Michael Harriman's luck was certainly out. And fortune wasn't shining on Scott Griffiths either. Luton not out of the promotion race, but without a home win now since late February. By contrast, Burton have the winning habit. A hungry and ruthless streak has seen them beaten only twice since November. Matty Palmer struck the decisive blow 11 minutes from time. A big win as the Brewers lead the way with 4 to play.
It was always going to be a tight game. There was always not a lot going to be in it. And at the end, we have taken our chance.
We had 3 or 4 great opportunities, and they've scored probably from what might be classed as their only proper opportunity. So really, really pleased with how we played, but disappointed not to, well, I'm not saying not to get something, really disappointed not to win.
Shrewsbury's relentless pursuit of Burton continues, as does their surge towards League One. Exeter, the latest side to be overpowered at Greenhouse Meadow, with Jean-Louis Akpro just too hot to handle. The visitors had arrived on the back of an 8-match unbeaten run, which had propelled them into the playoff picture, but the best chance of a response was a long-range Lee Holmes effort. Mickey Mellon and Shrewsbury have the best home record in the Football League, and you can see why. Ruthless finishing helps, which is what James Collins provided. In fact, the Shrews have only lost once in front of their own fans all season. And with Exeter reeling, they rammed home their advantage. Akpo again, lethal from close range. Emphatic is the best way to describe the performance, and their fourth, which came from the boot of Tyrone Barnett. That's 6 wins on the spin for Shrewsbury, who are 10 points clear of 4th place Bury. An automatic promotion looks like a formality.
Many times I've stood here and I always try and be honest. I thought that was an absolute masterclass from minute 1 to minute 93, 94, whatever it was.
Cheltenham, bottom of the Football League, were still looking for first win since Gary Johnson took over. Wickham had suffered back-to-back defeats. Nico Yanaris saw his effort come back off the underside of the bar. The Chairboys couldn't profit from the rebound. Gareth Ainsworth was a frustrated figure. They had to wait until first half stoppage time to make the pressure count. Aaron Pierre with a terrific angled finish to set them on their way to an overdue success. The Robins found a way back into the contest with a little help from Paul Hayes along the way. His mistake allowed Darryl Barry to level the scores. Minutes later, Wickham had re-established their advantage. A Sam Saunders corner met by Alfie Mawson, and Wickham's promotion campaign was back on track.
It's a huge result for us. All the top teams won, as the normal thing would happen, and this is going to go right down to the wire.
I didn't want them to say, or anybody to think, we've come to Wickham and we only got beat by the odd goal against a team that was going up. We can't do that. We got to be better than what we've done out there today.
Bury were eager to show Easter Monday's rare defeat was a mere blip as they continue to chase the top 3. And Newport were floored by a low blow. Ryan Lowe's flick on Chris Hussey's shot had the shakers in front at Rodney Parade, where County harbour hopes of making the playoffs. The home side were almost gifted a route back into the match. Adam Al-Abd only spared embarrassment by the post. Instead, Bury underlined their dominance with a couple of minutes left, rubber stamping their 9th win from 11 after Daniel Nardiello escaped a ragged offside trap. Bury clinical and Newport's boss philosophical, having suffered back-to-back losses.
They fully deserved their win. They come here and they're a good team, and we give it a go against them, and we fell a bit short. Simple as that. In striker Barry Corr, Southend United had the difference maker in an otherwise drab game at Roots Hall. He landed his 9th goal in 11 matches 7 minutes before half-time as the Shrimpers took a step nearer towards confirming a playoff place. The home side went in search of more, but former Tranmere rover Jake Cassidy was denied a first in 13 by Owen Fond Williams. Tranmere's 94-year stay in the Football League looks increasingly under threat, and with finishing like this from Mark Laird, it's easy to see why.
Well, I think it's a story of our season, really. For large spells of the game, we had plenty of possession, created chances, not stuck the ball in the back of the net, and one corner's outdone us.
The first goal was going to be vitally important. We managed to get it. We managed to get it from a set piece, even more importantly and more pleasingly from our perspective. Something that you work at on the training ground, and it's paid off today.
2 playoff-chasing teams whose recent form hardly matched their lofty aspirations. Northampton centre-half Xander Diamond providing the sparkle after some rather forgettable defending. Stevenage, though, deserved their second-half equaliser. Dean Parrott's flighted cross landing perfectly on the head of Chris Weltbaird. It seemed, though, that Graham Westley's side would have to wait at least another season for their first ever win over Northampton, until substitute Simon Walton delivered a 90th minute winner. Stevenage on track for the playoffs. Northampton's own hopes derailed.
A winless Easter saw Argyle tumble out of the playoff places. A home game with Mansfield, who'd lost 4 in a row, promised to be the perfect pick-me-up. And Plymouth didn't hang about. From Bobby Reed's free kick, Anthony O'Connor's header, the very definition of towering. 98 seconds played. The Stags are by no means safe. Defeating Devon would do their survival bid precisely no good. They were hanging on as Argyle turned up the heat. The best chance kept out by Sasha Studer. Ollie Lee's rebound blocked by Lee Beavers. But from the corner, a decisive blow struck by Carl McHugh, who scored for the second home game in succession. Mansfield did pull a goal back. Oliver proving that if you don't succeed at first, try again. Argyle back in the top 7. For Mansfield, an anxious few weeks lie ahead.
Morecambe enjoyed a first home win for 2 months as Alex Kenyon rediscovered his goal-scoring touch with a brace against Portsmouth. Kenyon's only previous goal of the season had come back in October, but the quality of Jamie Devitt's corners was matched by his close-range finishing to help his side maintain their recent unbeaten momentum. The match was held up for over 10 minutes when Portsmouth defender Josh Pasley was knocked unconscious. The 20-year-old required oxygen before being taken to hospital for observation. With Pompey safely in mid-table, planning can start for next season, and one player with a bright future, according to manager Andy Orford, is 18-year-old Connor Chaplin. Not a bad way to score your first senior goal. Morecambe started the day 8 points off the playoffs, which is probably too far out of reach, but hope springs eternal after victory was wrapped up by a beauty from Padraig Amond. Jim Bentley's side now unbeaten in 5.
The last time these teams met in the league, it ended goalless. Once again, neither side could find a breakthrough. Sean Rigg, playing against his former club, forced a fine save from Jamie Ashdown. Adebayo Akinfenwa threatened the winner, but it wasn't to be. The draw for Wimbledon guaranteed them a best ever points total in a Football League season.
Just 3 points above the bottom 2 going into the weekend. Carlisle's unity appeared to be cracking, but Sean O'Hanlon hit the post as the side seemingly reacted well to manager Keith Curle's Easter Monday blast that his players are weak and a few don't deserve to be professionals. In the second half, Jason Kennedy alleviated some of the tension that's been building around Brunton Park to the obvious relief of his teammates. Though judging by events in stoppage time, emotions were still running high. But at Dagenham and Redbridge Corner, tempers flared. And when referee Graham Salisbury arrived on the scene, he not surprisingly opted for the most severe punishment. A red card apiece for the home clubs Troy Archibald Hemville and the Daggers Ayo Obale. If the suspension's unhelpful for Carlisle, then the loss of focus could have been even more costly. Matt Partridge inches from taking away 2 of the points the Cumbrians required so badly.
Both Cambridge and Accrington came into this game on the back of morale-boosting bank holiday wins, but neither started the day mathematically safe. However, the U's hopes of a first win at the Abbey Stadium since January were raised when Tom Elliott nodded in after 8 minutes. Stanley, who reached the magical 50-point line last week, hit back. After a sloppy clearance by Michael Nelson, Piero Mingoya raced clear to land his second in as many games. Good timing with talks over a new contract underway. Sully Kaikai has had a big impact since moving to Cambridge on loan from Crystal Palace. His industry and drive failed to bring about an adequate reward. But Kaikai was involved as Cambridge retook the lead through Ryan Bird's 7th of the season. But just when U's fans thought it might be safe to start the celebrations, Stanley scrambled an equaliser deep in added time through Seamus Keneally, proving that persistence pays. Stanley now have a 12-point cushion on the bottom 2 with 4 games to go.
League football by no means a given for either next season. Ronnie Moore's Hartlepool revival stalled over Easter. York began the day 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Scott Harrison ever so close for Pools. York went closer still. Russ Penn led their counter-attack, and when his shot was blocked, Michael Coulson from 6 yards squandered the first half's best opening. Dave Winfield was the first 45's big loser. Referee Keith Stroud reckoned he was reckless on Brad Walker. A red card for a player who broke the leg of Pool's Michael Woods while playing for Wimbledon barely a month ago. But 10 players proved no hindrance to the Minster men. Halfway through the second period, and Luke Summerfield took aim. A big deflection, deceiving goalkeeper Scott Flinders. who was then thrown up for a set piece as an auxiliary striker. He missed his header. Scott Fenwick's effort cleared off the line by John McComb. Job done for York, just.
So York taking a giant step towards safety with that gutsy win over Hartlepool. It's not the first time I remember them doing that with 10 men.
Yeah, 7 games have been reduced to 10 men and they've only lost 2. They've won 3 of them. Maybe Russ Wilcox should play them with 10 men at the start of the game and see how they go.
Yeah.
Look, really gutsy performance, and I think that win will just secure their place in League 2.
Carlisle likewise got themselves an invaluable win under Keith Curle. 1-0 winners against Dagenham and Redbridge, this one, of course. And I suppose he got a reaction after some particularly harsh words after their Easter Monday defeat.
It was actually quite scathing of the players. And he did say to the players, do you think I should protect you? And they said, no, you shouldn't. We don't deserve to be protected. And he didn't. He had a right go at them. But they showed real character in coming out and getting that result. Jason Kennedy with an excellent goal there. And, you know, he's done a great job. There were 4 points adrift when Keith took charge. They're now 6 points clear. So, look, it's been difficult, but he's managed to get the most out of those players, and I think they've done enough now to stay in the division as well.
In terms of the headlines at the top of the table, well, Burton only need themselves 5 points from the remaining 4 games to get promotion to a division they've never been in, of course. They've only been in existence in a handful of years. So well done to them. And for Shrewsbury, 21 clean sheets equals a club record. Southend are into the playoff picture, and they have been there for a while, with key men at both ends of the table.
Yeah, Barry Corr at one end. I think it was his 15th goal of the season. 10 in 12 games, so he's on a rich vein of form. And at the other end, you've got Darren Bentley, who's not conceded a goal in 10 home league games.
Bentley, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing like a Rolls Royce, living up to his name. You know, he's been superb, and Phil Brown will be delighted with that. And, you know, again, you've got to keep clean sheets if you're going to go and win games, and they're doing that.
What an incredible record at Roots Hall as well, not having seen a goal conceded against your side for 10.
Roots Hall has always been a difficult place to go, believe me. I've known having played for West Ham, but, you know, Phil Brown's gone in there. He's taken a little bit of time to get them solid, and Barry Corr's now starting to score the goals that will get them the points at the other end. And I do fancy them. If they get in the playoffs, which I think they will do, I'll take some beating, I think.
I think they've unbeaten in 9, actually, or 1 defeat in 9. They're on a terrific run at the minute. Let's have a look at the tables before we sign off today. Well, the top 4 in the Sky Bet Championship all won, with Norwich requiring that injury time winner to stay second. Ipswich moved back into the playoff places at Wolves' expense as Kenny Jackett's side were beaten at Birmingham. Only goal difference separates 6th to 8th. 3 of the bottom 4 lost, with only Wigan picking up a point. Both the Latics and Millwall remained 7 points adrift of safety. The only winners in the bottom half were Birmingham and Huddersfield. Bristol City, meanwhile, remain 8 points clear at the top of League One after a draw at promotion rivals Preston. City can clinch promotion with a win on Tuesday at Bradford. 6 of the top 7 all drew, with Swindon the only winners in the top half going into the weekend. None of the bottom 4 could win, with Colchester the only losers. Bottom club Yeovil were relegated for the 2nd successive season in Paul Sturrock's first match in charge, despite their draw. Scunthorpe and Coventry both won to move 3 points clear of the drop zone. It was as you were at the top of League 2, as the top 5 all won. Southend and Bury kept the pressure on third-placed Wickham, who ended their 2-match losing run with victory over bottom club Cheltenham. Plymouth leapfrogged Newport into the playoff places. The bottom 3 all lost, while there were big wins for Carlisle and York, who moved 6 and 9 points clear of the relegation zone as a result. It's beginning to look like 2 now from 3 at the bottom. Right, just enough time to tell you about Match of the Day 2 on Sunday night, which will reflect, of course, on the weekend's Premier League action. That's at 10:30 on BBC One. And we'll be back next Saturday, straight after Match of the Day at 20 to midnight on the same channel. Leroy, good to see you as always. Thank you for your company. Well, have a great week. Bye for now.
Getting better.
Well, I have some very good news for you. You're cured of a cancer that was more aggressive than we thought from the biopsy.
Looking better.
I'm the Thinking Woman's Botox practitioner.
Feeling better.